So JD wants that certain Aquaman starlet to pay. He is demanding sanctions. Why? Because that certain Aquaman starlet was supposed to turn over forensic imaging. They were supposed to provide all of their evidence so JD could go through the metadata. Well, according to JD, that certain Aquaman starlet has done everything in their power not to comply with court order in this. It was supposed to be completed November 2021. Well, it still hasn't been completed. And much of the stuff that is now being turned over, it's either irrelevant, it's been corrupted, it's inaccessible, and now he's not going to be able to go through this. He is mad about this. I don't blame him. The court, they should be mad about that too. The judge, they might have some nasty things to say. You and I, we're going to talk about all of this filing too. Crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. So, hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. Before we get started, back our project. Link is in the description. This is our solution to industry problems. Industry doesn't like its customers, doesn't put out good products. We can have alternatives. Also, how we avoid sponsorship. Check that out. So for the upcoming April 11th, 2022 trial, that's less than a month away, by the way. It's live on YouTube, too. So we will be watching it on this channel. Make sure you tune in. But JD said, evidence isn't real. There are problems with metadata. I have experts that need to look over that. And a judge said, you know what? That certain Aquaman starlet has to turn it over. Well, JD is now alleging that there have been multiple problems with that. Here's the introduction to his filing. In recognition of the fact that the authenticity and integrity of the photographs that certain Aquaman starlet relies on in this action is at issue, the Honorable Court ordered that certain Aquaman starlet to produce her devices for a forensic imaging and analysis of specified extracted data. So, she's going to have to turn that stuff over. Judge said so. The court ordered imposed common sense limitations to protect that certain Aquaman starlet's privacy and data, which that certain Aquaman starlet and her experts have exploited to the point that the contemplated analysis by JD's forensic expert likely cannot be completed in advance of the upcoming jury trial of this action commencing on April 11, 2022. Now that is a huge charge, by the way, saying that someone is damaging your case after a court order that you turn things over to the point that you can't present to a jury. Continuing. Since the court entered the order on November 8, 2021, the imaging, extraction, and review process has been plagued by delays and technical snafus, which are at best negligent and at worst intentional stonewalling designed to thwart the very forensic analysis ordered by this court. The result, JD has incurred extensive costs, both from his expert and the court-appointed limited discovery conciliator for nothing. JD's forensic expert, Brian N., has not been able to review or analyze the authenticity and integrity of the photographs that certain Aquaman starlet relies upon to support her claims of, and you know exactly what those claims are, in a case where there's he said, she said claims of DV, the prejudice to JD and not being able to test the authenticity of key evidence cannot be overstated. There must be consequences. And that's true, by the way. You should be able to look over things. A court agreed that you can. And if there are delays, period, little on delays that you caused intentionally, that's bad. So the background, it gets even crazier because it explains this mess. Listen to this. So they go over the background. They tell you the judge's decision. They talk about how they need to protect that certain Aquaman starlet's personal and potentially privileged data. But unfortunately, as of February 18th, 2022, the imaging of all that certain Aquaman starlet's devices and cloud accounts still has not been completed, and JD's expert had not received a single piece of extracted data to analyze. So, months after the fact, they hadn't had anything turned over at all. In fact, The expert here, he did not receive any extracted data until March 2nd, 2022. So you're talking about really a month and a few days away from when the trial is supposed to transpire, and to date is still receiving data extracted from that certain Aquaman starlet's devices on a rolling basis. So they're still trickling out data, and he'll tell you, though, that data is mostly useless. Listen to this here. Even when the data is finally available to send to the expert, there are inexcusable mishaps and delays. On one occasion, so they're going to give you your breakdowns here, an encrypted device of photographs was sent to the expert without passwords necessary to access the content, so the drive needed to be resent. On another occasion, the expert received a file without the raw photographs, not in the agreed-upon format. That's important, by the way. If you don't have the raw formats, you can't look over them. You can't tell what's been changed up with others. Plus, you can't look at the authenticity of metadata. Now, listen to some of the issues that come up here. Making matters worse, much of the data that has been provided to the expert to date is now irrelevant or seems to be corrupted. Of over 58,000 photographs the expert has now received, a substantial portion are not the types of photographs ordered to be analyzed, namely pictures of that certain Aquaman starlet. That's crazy, by the way. The judge said you need to turn over things that are relevant to the case. Items that are going to appear in the case, there are not 58,000 photographs that have been attached to it. So they're just dumping photographs out there. They're trying to waste time. They're trying to waste energy, and they're not turning over what they're supposed to. Now, the expert actually backs up what JD is saying, too. They provided a declaration. You can see it right here. They give all of their qualifications and on, and then they tell you, the court-ordered deadline for completion of forensic imaging, that was November 30th, 2021. To date, and they're talking about February the 18th, 2022. So to date, some forensic imaging of those devices has occurred, but no photographs have been produced to me for my review. So even though they've started doing this stuff, even though it's supposed to be done in November, I haven't received anything on February 18th. On or around February the 11th, 2022, my colleague received a communication from one of that certain Aquaman starlet's experts' colleagues in which they said that there were still 8 or 10 forensic images of backup files from her iCloud that needed to be parsed. Analyzing this data, it's a time-consuming process, and the delay has already rendered it extremely difficult to complete the analysis before trial. Further delay will further increase the difficulty of doing so. And remember, they're saying the data, it still hasn't been received, so she should have to pay. Now, what's interesting is he lists some costs, too. One expert's initial billing was over $40,000 for what they did. They still haven't been able to complete what they're doing, and there are other people that are responsible here as well. I mean, you can imagine the cost of filing, you can imagine the cost of experts. That's insane. He also asked that the jury be instructed that this is going on. I feel there's more information coming out right now about this too. We'll follow up on it, but yeah, let me know what you think. Also, check out our project on Indiegogo. Back that. It is live right now. Link is in the description. We can either complain about companies forever not respecting their customers, or we can do something on our own. This is what we're doing. Check that out. We need your help, and thank you for being here with the channel. Thank you for checking that out too. Going to end here. Thank you again. See you soon.